Hello, and good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are around the world watching this. Welcome to this live Q&A session with some of the finest students the University of Glasgow has to offer. My name's Gavin, and I work at the University of Glasgow in the student recruitment team, and I'm here joined by these fantastic students, and I'm going to be putting the questions that you have been sending us over the past wee while through various means to the guys today, and they're going to give you a really good insight into what it's like to study at Glasgow, what it's like to be a student, and just give you a really good flavour of what it's like to be here. So without any further ado, I'm going to let the guys introduce themselves. So just going by my screen, I'll let Sam introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm a fourth year geography student from London, and yeah, next year I'll be going on to one of the SRC sabbatical roles as a VP student activities, and will most likely be planning your Freshers Week. So yeah, I'll be around.
Excellent. Cheers for that, Sam. Next up, we'll go to Leonie.
Hi, I'm Leonie. I'm a fourth year psychology student, and I'm originally from Germany, and I'm captain of the skydiving club still.
Every time I hear that, Leonie, it's still just, it sounds mental. It's crazy. It's that you do skydiving, but that's so cool. We'll come on to that later on, I'm sure. I'm going to bring that up later on, so but thank you very much. And last but by no means least, Emaan.
Hi, I'm Emaan, and I'm a third year philosophy and English literature student, and I am the convener of a philosophy podcast called Thoughts.
That's amazing. So you see from just the caliber of the students that we have today, we're going to be talking about lots of different things, which is so good. Eman's obviously got some experience with podcasting and stuff like that, so she's an absolute expert at all this as well. But we'll just get started with some of the questions, and we'll kick off with a very nice general one that I'll put to all of you in reverse order of what we just did. But it's, why did you choose to study at the University of Glasgow? So Emaan, I'll come to you first for that.
Yeah, so I'm a native Glaswegian, so I'm from Glasgow. And I went to high school just around the corner from UofG, actually. So every day going to high school, we drove past the University of Glasgow. And every time we drove past, I was like, I can picture myself here. Like, this is where I want to go. This is where I see myself going. And it's just a plus learning about the specific course I wanted to do, English literature, and learning about how creatively UofG deals with the course, and just how much opportunities there are to have a creative outlet within the university. So that's what made me pick UofG.
Excellent. And I'm so with you, Emaan, because I lived quite near Glasgow University when I was growing up as well, and it is just such a cool, amazing building that when you see you drive by it or you walk by it, it just looks so impressive, and you always really want to be part of it. So obviously we were lucky enough to now be part of it. Leonie, how about you? Why did you study at Glasgow?
I wanted to study in Scotland for the flexible degree, and I just looked at a couple of universities and I visited them, and I think with Glasgow Uni I just immediately I just had a good gut feeling, and I thought, you know what, this is a place I can belong and where I can find a community. And I think that was a really calming thought, coming to a big university in a new city, to be like, oh yeah, this is a place where people are there for you.
Excellent. Quoting Friends there as well, the theme tune to Friends. I love it. We will be there for you. Glasgow is such a good place for community, so you're so right with that. And Sam, how about you?
I chose to study Glasgow because I don't know, it was far away from home. Well, like, you know, I love London, but like, you know, I wanted to kind of move somewhere for uni that was different. You know, coming up to Scotland is like just not London. I know, something different to experience, and also kind of like the caliber of the uni, and also like the way like the uni campus is. You know, how all buildings are all close together and things like that. And the kind of pedigree of studying geography here as well. Yeah, kind of a few of the reasons I chose Glasgow. Yeah.
Excellent. So yeah, I think that's you've all talked about slightly different things as well, which is a really quite interesting thing. Sam, like you're really interested in the course. Leonie, you're all about people. Emaan, you just always knew you were going to come here. So that was a really good insight to kick us off. So thanks very much for those answers. Moving on to one of the questions that has been coming in lots and lots and lots recently, and quite rightly so. While we've moved to teaching online, people are wanting to find out what it's like to do that. So how has the university kind of accommodated you for that? How has online teaching been? And we'll come to you, Leonie, first for that.
It's been actually really good. Like the quality of teaching has remained the same, if not improved. Like the School of Psychology has done an excellent job, and there, like all of my lectures have been online, but also there has been an additional effort to like still have community and reach out and be there for each other. And yeah, I was really impressed how well this has worked, I have to say. I'm glad it worked so well.
It's so reassuring because you're so right, because it was a total like cliff edge that no one really knew what was going to happen. So it's so good that it has worked out quite well. Emaan, how about you? Any challenges or anything like that you've managed to overcome while you've been doing it?
Yeah, so this was my first year going into honours that we had during like online learning. So it was a change in general from being in bigger classes with big lectures and things to then going to like smaller classes already. But I really liked how English literature and philosophy have dealt with that, because the online environments feel intimate and they feel sociable. So I feel like I can interact with my peers and I can like talk to my other classmates. Like where I would usually have a conversation with them before walking into a class, now I can like message them on Zoom, or I can like make like group chats on like Teams and just talk to them and say like just get some help. It's like a little study group built in online that I really like. And I think as well the resources, both courses and I think courses all across the university have done really well in putting all the resources that we need online, which has been an immense help.
Yeah, and I suppose it's really good for just getting that kind of accessibility to get those resources online as well. So that's been great as well. So Sam, how about you? How have you felt over moving to online learning?
I'd say it's been different compared to normal times, but from what I've seen and kind of what Leonie said, I guess respective schools, and from what I've seen in geography, is that the staff have been put in like so much effort to make sure that like teaching is kind of to that same high standard as before. Like it is understandable that, you know, there are lecturers and stuff, they're going through the same amount of pressure as us. So it's been very reassuring to see that like they care and that they want us to do the best we can. It's been nice to have a mix of online and it's all been online, a mix of recorded and live sessions, because you know, with recorded lectures, you can come to it any time, and you can take it at your own pace. And I found that has been very beneficial. But also with the live classes, you're able to still kind of meet people in classes, especially in honours in third and fourth year, and like meet people that you like never met before. Yeah, and kind of still have that social interaction.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point that you touched on there, talking about how the kind of flexibility of it is really quite good at kind of looking after everyone's kind of well-being, that not everyone can tune in at every given second of the day. So some of the recorded sessions are actually really quite useful for studying, because it has been a hard time. So yeah, you're so right in saying that it's quite handy for that as well. And on that note of kind of the university kind of looking after our students, and when you're here, talking about kind of support services that university offer for students. Emaan, do you have any kind of experience with the support services at university, or you can comment on there?
Yeah, so I'm a partially hearing impaired student. So one of my main worries before starting university was, oh no, like how will I be able to like handle this? I'm used to being in a classroom of like 30 people, and even then like I sit near the front and I like get notes beforehand from teachers and things. So how is that transition from high school to university going to go? But then the university got in touch with me once I accepted my offer, and it was the disability team that got in touch with me. And they had me come in August, and they had me come in offer holders day first in March, and had a little initial discussion with me first, just to kind of make sure I wasn't too worried or too anxious about starting. And then in August, I had an appointment with them, and it went great. We had a discussion about what support I thought I would need, and they set me up with a note taker and some other resources as well that I could use throughout my time at university. And that made the pressure immediately lessen, and I immediately felt a lot more calm and a lot more able to kind of go forward with my education.
That's so good to hear. Yeah, and it's one of those things that obviously the university has these fantastic services to help all students across the university get their degrees, because we just love looking after our students at Glasgow, and it's good that you've had such a good experience of that as well. So it's good to hear. Got some other questions coming in. Leonie, I'm going to ask you a next week question. So a student coming originally from Germany, are most University of Glasgow students, do they hail from Glasgow like Emaan and myself, or do we have quite a lot of students from further afield?
It's really international. Like, I'll be honest, I guess maybe also being an international student myself, like I noticed maybe the international people more in my first year, but I feel like I really had to seek out the people from Glasgow, Scotland, and just be like, oh, actually, are there people who are not from literally all over the world? So it's like a really international place, and I really love that about it, because like you get to meet so many people, and it's not super cliquey that people just stay in their, country groups, and I think that has so much value. But also there are lots of country societies, so like there's a German society, for example, and there are different country societies, so you can learn more about different places. And also, if you want, like, find your people there. If you need to talk to someone about something very specific to your culture, like, you'll find someone who will relate.
Yeah, such a good point. And I think a lot of folk, especially in Glasgow, the food scene in Glasgow is quite good, and a lot of people really bond over like talking about, or even cooking for each other and stuff like that. And that's always something that is always quite a nice way to do things in Glasgow. I don't know if you maybe you absolutely didn't assume that you were going to come to Glasgow and would all be in kilts eating haggis all the time, did you?
Well, that's what my family thought I was going to do.
Thankfully, we're not. Although it is a great look. I don't know, Sam, have you tried on a kilt since you've been here?
No, nah. I've said to myself, like, if I ever was like to wear a kilt, it'd have to be like at a big, like, say if it was like a graduation, but they're cancelled. But like something like that, something big, wait till the end of uni, like not yet, like just ease myself in.
Yeah, dispelling any rumours. We don't always wear kilts and eat haggis. We do occasionally do it, and it does look brilliant when you wear a kilt, and haggis is delicious, but that's not normal life here in Glasgow and in Scotland. So dispel that rumour. But thanks for that, Leonie. And just kind of on that as well, so yeah, we do welcome people from all over the world here to the University of Glasgow and to Glasgow itself. But was it hard kind of moving from a different country to Glasgow to study. Obviously, Sam, you just moved from England, but it was still a fair difference. So was that hard for you?
So in first semester, my mum specifically told me, like, Sam, you're not down the whole semester. Like, she wanted me to kind of just get accustomed to being up here. Of course, things like, just it's a bit colder than down south, of course, but I blame the pollution. And also like stuff like the accent and, just things like that, just things like when you're moving up from England to Scotland. I've like gradually, got used to it. Of course, like now, like being at home most of the time, like when I go outside and I hear like a strong like Glaswegian accent, I'm like, but it's I'd say it's quite simple to get used to everything, especially if you're from like a kind of city vibe, as myself, because I'm just used to like the hustle and bustle of London. Like everything's so busy. Everyone's trying to like barge past each other when they're walking like on the tube or wherever. But I found up here, everyone's a bit more chill. It's more, laid back. Everyone's a bit more friendly. It's like I've been on like a bus a few times, and then like say someone just in a seat across starts talking to you, like just out of nowhere. I'm just like, I'm not used to this. Like back home, you don't look at anyone like in the eye. You're just like looking at the adverts or anything like that. But yeah, no, it's been nice. It's been a culture shock, but it's been very nice. Yeah.
That is like one of my favourite things that you brought up there about Glasgow in particular. Like you will just have some of the loveliest chats of your life with complete strangers. You'll share bags of chips with them and stuff like that when it's cold. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Maybe not now, but in previous times. Leonie, you find it? How did you find it moving from a non-English speaking country to Glasgow? And how did you find the accents in Glasgow?
Well, I will be honest. I think in my second week in Glasgow, I was trying to buy a bus ticket to go to IKEA. It was quite traumatic. I don't know what the bus driver was saying to me, but luckily I had my flatmate with me, and she's from England, and she was like, "Let me buy this." So it can be like it is something to kind of listen yourself into, but I think it happens really easily and really fast. And also, yeah, as you guys were saying, the people are just so friendly, so like they are happy to actually repeat what they're saying a couple of times and maybe use some hands to sign as well. And yeah, I found it quite exciting. To be honest, I didn't expect there to be such a like culture shock, but there's a lot of exciting stuff past the haggis eating and strong accents. I went to like a ceilidh in my first week here, and I didn't know what a ceilidh is. So if there's anyone here who doesn't know what a ceilidh is, it's kind of like a traditional Scottish dance. There's lots of people. It's a very wild thing. It's a lot of fun. I have to say, I think that was the biggest shock for me. And yeah, I think also one of the moments where I was like, this is a great place and I'm welcome here, and somebody's explaining everything to me.
Yeah, I think ceilidhs are a really good way of bringing people into Scotland and kind of engulfing them in the culture and the welcomeness. It's such a lovely thing, and most people from outside of Scotland might be thinking, I need to go to a Scottish dance and do country dancing. Don't worry, Emaan will back me up in this. Emaan, do you remember like social dancing? Yeah, so when we were in high school, towards the end of the year, we just stopped doing PE and we started doing ceilidh dancing. Did you do that, Emaan?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so we have it drummed into. We will show you how to do the dances. We absolutely love it. It's such a good way to welcome. But as you were saying at the start of that, Leonie, that if you are coming from different countries, you'll still get to make friends with people from those countries. One of my favourite societies that we have at the University of Glasgow is the Irish and Northern Irish Student Society, and their initials spell out the Glasgow University Irish and Northern Irish Student Society spells out Guinness, which is just fantastic. I absolutely love it. So if you're watching in Northern Ireland or Ireland, you're absolute geniuses. But yeah, really, really friendly place to come to. Now, on that kind of like Kaylee's and dancing, meeting lots of folk, how easy is it to make friends when you come here to Glasgow? We'll go to you, Sam.
I'd say it's quite easy. I guess it's just up to yourself to kind of like get stuck in, get involved. I guess most of the time there's like group chats before you come to uni, probably like for your halls, or maybe if like for a specific course, something like that. But when you get here, I guess like because everyone's in the same boat, like you want to make friends, you want to meet people, you don't want to be like on your own, just chilling. But yeah, through like joining societies, through, you know, going to like maybe like a prees, not now, of course, COVID, but like just like having like social gatherings whenever you can, like people are just open. Like I feel like at first you might feel nervous, but then once you get into a rhythm of like, you know, meeting one person, then they might introduce you to another person, be like, oh, how do you know this person? How do you know that person? But yeah, like over time, I've found it like just trying out new stuff, getting out of your comfort zone. It's worth it to meet new people. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Glasgow has been ranked as the friendliest city in the world, and it's mostly down to people like Emaan, who's one of the most friendly people I've ever met in my entire life. So, Emaan, as a Glaswegian, how did you find making friends here once you got to university?
Yeah, I think it was surprisingly easy, I think. So within like my first 2 weeks of being at university, including Freshers Week, I had already made a good few friends, like just through really random scenarios. So we were trying to go to like similar like freshers events, and then a group of people would be like, "Oh, do you know where this building is?" It's like, "No, I don't know where this building is, but how about we find it together?" And then a story that I love to tell people, and my best friend will hate me for this, but in like one of my first lectures for one of my classes, I was like sat alone, and there was an empty seat beside me at the end of the row. And then the teachers were like, "Oh, like if you have an empty seat beside you, like people are coming in late, so just raise your hand and people can sit beside you." So I raised my hand, and then he's now my best friend, but he came and he sat next to me, and the boy door has like kind of cinema seats that you need to push down and hold down to sit on. He didn't know that, so he pushed it down, let it go, and sat down, and fell straight away, and it was hilarious, and I laughed at him for a good 40 minutes, and classes are 50 minutes long, so I laughed for a very long time. And yeah, and he's from the Philippines, so I became best friends with like an international student like within my first day of classes as well. So it is shockingly easy. Maybe don't laugh at everyone, but it worked for me. So
I mean, moral of the story, if you do want to make friends and you're a bit nervous, just fall over next to nice people and you'll make a friend for life. Or just proximate yourself near clumsy folk and you'll that's fantastic. I love that. And Leonie, how did you find making friends when you got to Glasgow?
Also, yeah, just like Sam said, surprisingly easy. I arrived here and I was like, oh no, how does one make friends again? Because I guess in school you kind of like, you just have the people, but then everybody here is in that situation, like especially in first year, like everybody just wants to get to know people and is so open to meeting everyone. And of course, like you have your course as well. So I think that is just these people who share at least one interest with you. And I don't know, so I just became friends with the first people I was in group work with because they were just really nice people, and yeah, it just happened really naturally and really easily.
Yeah, it's one of the things that even like when you start at university, there are a few things that you will just start making friends with. So as you say, when you start going to classes, when you start joining clubs and societies, when you move into your halls of residence, one of the big first things that everyone gets to do is Freshers Week, when you get to try out lots of different club societies. Sam, as someone who's joining the SRC and the upcoming term, tell me about Freshers Week. Is it worth going to Freshers Week, and how does it work, even if like you can't physically be there? But how does it normally work as well?
I'd say, yeah, I'd say if you have the chance to go to Freshers Week, just do as much as you can. Like, it's literally the week, well, it's literally the week before you start, and like literally it's probably the time when you're gonna meet like the most amount of people in one go. There's literally like a whole bunch of events that normally happen. So like we have our Freshers Fair where a whole bunch of clubs and societies are up in the main building. You get to like talk to some of the committee members, get to sign up, things like that. And it's also a chance to kind of like to find new clubs, new societies, like things that you wouldn't have thought that you'd be interested in. Like you can check online. There's like the whole list of all the clubs and societies. But most of the time, it might just be one you see at the corner of your eye, and you're just like, oh, this sounds interesting. But yeah, normally they do like taster sessions during Freshers Week. You've also got like the sports fair as well. There's, I don't even know how many clubs, so many. And yeah, it's just a good opportunity just to try something different. And even through them, that's how you end up meeting friends that you'll probably keep for like the rest of your uni career. There's also things like an IKEA trip, just like tours around the West End. It's just kind of like a nice little, it's a week basically just to kind of get eased into uni. Of course, normal times there's the drinking and nights out and stuff like that. That's a good part of Freshers Week, but of course it's much more than that. It's more than that. Yeah.
I mean, the IKEA trip itself just sounds like an absolute treat. I'd love that right now. Leonie, you smiled at that. Did you do that? Is that when you went to IKEA?
Yeah, I have a friend from that trip.
You can make friends going to IKEA.
Yeah, it's quite an intimate thing to get to do together. You get to know someone very quickly, and like she's one of my best friends.
There's literally no scenarios here at the University of Glasgow you won't make friends in. It's insane how many opportunities. That's incredible. And obviously, like Leonie, when we're at Freshers Fair, that's you're captain of the skydiving team, aren't you? So you would normally be there to kind of coax new folk into jumping out of planes with you.
Yes, it's a very busy time of year. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. But I think it's quite exciting because you have like this whole, I don't know, it's like this whole atmosphere is so excited and everybody wants to do new things, and especially for something like skydiving, you want people who want to do new things, and then you kind of like draw out these people. And like I guess like for me trying to sell my club, it's quite exciting, but like you still like you meet all of these people who come here, and then you get them to sign up and they stay and they come to the socials and find a community. And I think it's such a beautiful thing, and I love seeing that so much because I know how much I love the community in my club. So yeah, and I think that's the thing about Freshers Week, like you have all of these people who really want to share what they have, and like want you to be a part of what they love. And I think that's just really exciting and cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, there's really something for everyone, like from the high octane things like jumping out of planes to other things. I mean, there's a society, I think a Shrek society is even there as well, so you can join pretty much anything. So obviously Freshers Week is amazing for folk coming to Glasgow, but Emaan, if you were living at home, how did you kind of get involved with Freshers, and is it still worthwhile attending Freshers, even if you're living in Glasgow already and know the city well already?
It's 100% worthwhile, I think. So me and a friend from high school, we both went to Freshers together, and especially the Freshers like fair part, that is like amazing because you get to go around like the different stalls and you get to meet like people like Leonie and Sam, like part of the different societies and things, part of the SRC, and you get to like see just like how many different things they are on offer. And me and my best friend as well, like I'm wearing a hoodie that I literally got in my first year as a fresher. Like we got matching hoodies from it, and it was like such a like sweet and wholesome experience. And there's also lots of freebies. So I would say like as a student, that is something you get to learn to appreciate a lot, because who doesn't love a wee free like donut or like, you know, just free like soap or lip balms and things like that. It's great.
Yeah, the freebies that have been given out in the past have been incredible. I just see loads of students walking about University Avenue with like bags heaving full of just like loads of stationery. As you say, like, and it's not just like pens and stuff. It's some really decent freebies. It's incredible. So yeah, it's an incredible thing to go to. It's also just even good because I'm assuming all of you have also snuck in when you were second, third, and fourth years as well, just to pick up some extra and also just find out if there's new clubs and societies. It's always worthwhile doing that. But yeah, Freshers is incredible. So moving on from the kind of the funness of all the clubs and societies, we start thinking about degree, which is another big thing that people have been asking about. And obviously in Scotland and in Glasgow in particular, the flexible degree structure is something that's a bit different from if you've gone anywhere else or if you're thinking about going anywhere else. So, Emaan, if you apply for a subject and you don't really like it, what can you do? What is possible with this flexible degree structure?
Yeah, so the flexible degree structure means that if you apply for a subject, say like if I had originally applied for English literature and an English language joint degree, and I got to choose one other subject. So you normally do 3 subjects in your first year, and that's just to get like a kind of broad range of education, and then also get to try something that you probably wouldn't have gotten to. And when I took my first semester of English language, I very quickly decided it was not for me, and that I wouldn't enjoy it. And I thought that I was stuck with this degree now that I'd picked it. But I went to the arts advising team, which is a lovely team of people that are there to help you and just to go to for advice and things. And I went to them and I said, okay, well, I really don't like this, but I love philosophy and I love English lit. So what can I do? And it was like within 5 minutes, I think, I got to switch my degree from English literature and English language to English literature and philosophy. And I know so many people that have like taken up a second or third subject that they didn't get to try it in high school, and they've fallen in love with it and wanted to do that instead. So it's definitely an amazing structure that's in place that is, as it's in its name, very flexible.
Yeah, and it's definitely one of the things that is such a fantastic part of a Glasgow degree. You get that kind of breadth of study, get to try things, as you were saying, that maybe you've not even studied at school, you've never really thought of as a subject. There are some limitations. I would like to point out that obviously if you're doing some of the kind of the professional degrees like medicine, dentistry, vet, they don't fall into the same flexibility, and vice versa. So Emaan wouldn't have been able to do English with then like a wee bit of dentistry. That would be downright dangerous. Although I'm probably sure she'd probably still be good at it. But we don't allow you to do quite that level of flexibility. But if you're interested in finding out what you can do, there's loads of information on our website. You can find out all the joint honours codes on the subject web pages as well. So loads of opportunities to find out that kind of stuff as well. But thanks very much for that. So now next question. Thinking about student accommodation. Sam and Leonie, you both stayed in student halls at some point, yes? Excellent. So what was your experience of that, and also what halls would you recommend? We'll come to you, Leonie, first.
I was in Winton Drive, which is kind of behind the Botanic Gardens, quite a nice walk to uni. And well, I still live with my flatmate from first year, so I'd say positive experience. That worked out quite well. She's a very nice person, and also I don't think I would have met her if I hadn't been in accommodation, because she studies something completely different. And I thought it was quite nice. And I don't know which one to recommend. They're all quite good, and I think the main thing is you're with other students. I now live closer to some other student accommodations, and I sometimes walk past and I think, yeah, like these are great places to be because they're so close to like all these cafes in the West End. And I don't think it's easy to choose one of them. I think the main thing is you're there with other students, and you just get to meet all of these other people and, figure out some issues as well, because you're sharing a flat. But no, I think it's a very positive experience. It can be quite social, so that's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a good point that they are kind of spread out around the kind of the west end of Glasgow, so it takes in some really quite cool areas from like Finnieston, which is like one of the kind of trendiest places in the country to be. I say that because I live there, but also there's like places like around the west end. There's just loads of really nice places to live in as students, so it's pretty cool for that. Sam, how about you? How was your experience, and any tips or tricks about getting into accommodation?
So I lived in Queen Margaret Residences, which is literally like 30 seconds away from where Leonie stayed in Winton Drive. And yeah, it was nice. It was flats of 5, ensuite, quite a cozy accommodation, about like 300 people. And yeah, it was nice. So I think when I originally chose my accommodation, at first I was like, let me choose Murano, which is it's the biggest accommodation that Glasgow has, about 1,000 people, and it's like known as the sociable halls, like where they have all the flat parties and the breeze and things like that. But then that, like, my mom said to me, like, Sam, you're going into first year, you might as well choose an ensuite. And then, if you want to, meet up with people and all that stuff, you can go there whenever and then just come back to your nice, quiet ensuite bedroom. But yeah, I'd say, like Leonie said, there's a whole bunch of choices for like different needs and stuff like that. So like QM and Winton were like round behind the Botanic Gardens. Murano was 15 minutes walk from there, up Mary Hill, and then you'd have some down on the other side, like Gavin said, in Finnieston, and I think there was the one catered one. What was it called again? Oh my days! Yeah, Wolfson Hall's out a bit further, but then that's where you see more like vet meds and things like that. But even still, there were people that I knew from there that didn't actually study vet med, but they kind of have like, I'd say best of both worlds-ish, like, it's catered, but then you also meet a lot of people from vet med and things like that. But then, like, you're literally like 10 minutes down from Murano, so you'd be still in the loop, meeting new people and all that stuff. I guess just about having a look, seeing what's for you and choosing from there.
Yeah, that's absolutely great advice. I would definitely echo that. We do have, as Sam actually listed off, like so many of our accommodations there. We do have lots for you to choose from. So if you are interested in accommodation, jump on our website. You can see profiles for all the different accommodations that we have. Obviously, range of price ranges to the more personal you want it. If you want your own bathroom, your own flat, it will be a bit more. If you're happy to share things, it will obviously probably bump the price down a wee bit as well. But as guys were saying, there's lots of opportunities to meet lots of people, and you're here to study, obviously, and you'll meet lots of friends there as well. So definitely cool to go to accommodation. But you were chatting about, like, obviously you can walk from accommodation into the university, but you can also get some kind of public transport as well. So Emaan, as a kind of resident Glaswegian, how easy is it to get around Glasgow? Can you walk around it, or do you need to get trains, buses? What else can you do?
Well, there is a lot of different ways you can go about it. I think if you enjoy walking, then you definitely can walk. I think the university is like a 20-minute or like half an hour walk into like the city centre. Yeah. So you can totally walk, but I prefer to take the subway because I'm a bit lazy. So our subway is extremely easy to navigate. It's like an inner circle and an outer circle, and it's just like one circle of all the stops. So like one train's going one way and another train's going the other way. So it's extremely easy to navigate and such an efficient way to get around. It's like a 5-minute journey into the city centre from the university, and that's like my preferred way to travel. But then there's also like buses and trains, and it's so there's Partick train station, which is like a 15-minute walk from the uni. There's like loads of bus stops that are right along University Avenue, and then along Barrett Road and Great Western Road as well. So there's so many efficient ways to travel. You just got to pick the way you enjoy.
Yeah, and I'm with you through the subway in Glasgow. It also just looks so cool. Like if you look on Glasgow's if you search on Instagram, you'll find loads of really arty photos of the subway in Glasgow. It just looks brilliant. It's the quite Art Deco design. So if you're into that, I mean, if you're into public transport looking cool, Glasgow's the place for you. So very good point, man. Obviously, transport, good point to bring up. Sam, coming from London, how easy is it to get from London around the UK, in particular London, to Glasgow?
Yeah, there's quite a few ways. I like to mix it up here and there. You know, try something different each time. Most of the time, I take the train. So you can go straight down the west coast or down the east coast through Edinburgh. Normally, it's like 4.5 hours, the quickest. But you've also you can fly, and you can also take like the coach, like the Megabus or the National Express. The flight normally takes like less than an hour because, you know, up, down, literally. Like I tried to take a nap on the flight, it doesn't happen. But then yeah, you've got the coach, which normally takes about 8-9 hours. I like to do the overnight one, so I can just wake up, you know, 7-8 o'clock, ready to go. Yeah, there's a lot of choice. And it's quite cheap as well, if you find the best fares, yeah.
Yeah, that's rookie napping skills, Sam. I can fall asleep easy on that flight. I can flip. Obviously, if you're coming from like Northern Ireland, the flight from Belfast to Glasgow is even shorter. It's around about 30 minutes, and I can nap on that flight, Sam. So you need to improve your napping skills. Shocking, David.
I'll try.
But so obviously you were talking about how like there's some different obviously price ranges from traveling from flights, probably being up there with the most expensive, trains being all right, buses. Talking about kind of money and stuff like that. Scholarships and bursaries, are they possible at Glasgow? How can you get them? Sam, have you got any experience of them?
Yeah, so coming from England, coming from the rest of the UK, you'd automatically be, well, it depends on like the financial situation, but you'd be eligible for the rest of the UK bursary. So I think in first year, is it 2,000 for across the whole year? So then you get like, it gets paid in monthly installments. And then in second and third year, it's 1,500 a year. And that's the same in installments as well. But then like, sometimes you can literally go on the uni website, Glasgow Uni scholarships, type down Google, and then there'll be a whole bunch of different like bursaries and scholarships that you might be eligible for. I found one last year that I was eligible for, the James McCune Smith Scholarship, which was so it was people of BAME ethnicity from the rest of the UK, if I'm trying to remember that. And that was like 2,000 across the whole year. So that was nice to have that, you know, extra bit of money. I probably should have found it out a bit earlier because I realized, yeah, when it comes to money as a student, it's there's a learning curve. That's one thing. Yeah,
but it's good advice from you that you can like stack bursaries and scholarships on top of each other. So that's a good bit of advice from you. Emaan, did you get a scholarship or any bursaries?
Yeah, so before I started, I got an email again after I accepted my offer from the kind of scholarship and bursaries team. And they let me know that I was eligible for a scholarship, an academic excellence scholarship, based on the grades I got in high school. So all I needed to do was fill out a short like personal statement and just like fill out an application form that was pretty like self-explanatory and easy. And then about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, they offered me the scholarship, and all I needed to do was accept it. And that's me getting £1,000 across the whole year, every year of my undergraduate degree, which has been really nice.
Yeah, that absolutely makes a difference, and it's definitely good to know that there's money out there for students. It's well worthwhile jumping again on our website, going on the scholarships webpage to find out what is on offer for you as well. So again, fantastic advice. Now, Leonie, when it comes to moving to Glasgow, did you find quite an affordable place to live as a student? How did you find it for that?
I find it quite manageable. I think in terms of generally comparing to other places, you'll find cheaper, you'll definitely find more expensive. I think as a student, what I really appreciate is that it's still possible to go out, like go for a coffee and cake, maybe go for breakfast and not completely ruin yourself over that. I think that has great value, especially with all the great coffee shops around. So yeah, I think it's manageable. It's okay.
Yeah, for sure. I think Glasgow's so good for its coffee and its food and stuff like that, and its bar. So it is a really affordable place to come in and live and eat. And obviously, accommodation, once you move out of student accommodation, there's plenty of flats around the West End to move into that our students find fantastic deals in as well. So yeah, definitely would echo your point with that. Leonie, again, I'm going to stick with you. When it comes to obviously coming to Glasgow, the weather is something that we have a reputation for here in Scotland. How did you find it? What is the weather like? Is it cold all the time? Is it always snowing or raining?
Well, it's raining more than it's snowing. It is wetter than maybe Germany, but also sometimes there is sunshine, crazy thought. And I think I never appreciated good weather as much as living here, just from seeing all the people love it so much. Like, I feel like I wouldn't use good weather as much if I was somewhere else, because everybody here, like as soon as there's even the tiniest ray of sunshine, everyone's just outside in the park, picnicking, going on trips. And it's just, I think, the nice thing to see and partake in. So also you get used to it. It's like, it's a bit wetter than other places, but that's fine. Like, you get a raincoat.
Exactly. That is literally one of my favourite quotes of all time. Is Billy Connolly once famously said that if you just get a good coat, you'll enjoy Scotland. It's a fantastic place to be. And the good thing about Glasgow is it does rain sometimes, but it just means we have world-class indoor venues. Places like Kelvin Grove Art Gallery, right next to the university, the Hydro, these amazing places to go to. So we find absolute snippets of gold in these thanks to the rain. So but yeah, as you say, it's quite nice. Sam, how did you find it?
I think I think my experience really started off traumatically. I moved
all right, maybe not.
Yeah, it set the bar quite like so. Like, I moved up on a very rainy day, and like that was the only day my mum was up as well. So I think she got that impression that Scotland was very rainy, but like I think that was just a very bad day. Like, I've realized since being here that a Glasgow summer, or like just any hot day in Glasgow, is actually so nice. Like, you Kelvin Grove Park down the road, everyone's out there, like Leonie was saying, picnics, everyone's just chilling. And yeah, like, it's like, I'd say just as long as you've got an umbrella, you're fine. But I guess what everyone says, like just dress like the weather's gonna change all the time. Like, don't dress for like it being rainy or it being sunny. Just like, there'll be 4 seasons in one day, basically. But you get used to it. It's not that bad after a while.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think anyone's really going to university for a tan, really. So you're coming to university, say, for the university itself, the people, and I think the university and the people at Glasgow are well worth a wee bit of rain and the need for a jacket every now and then. So thank you for being so nice. Emaan and I are quite happy that our homeland isn't slagged off by you then. But that's good. I can't believe how quick this time has flown in. So we will be wrapping up with just one very last question for you. And it is probably quite a nice general one to finish up with, is what is the best part about being a student at University of Glasgow? So we'll start with you, Emaan. What do you think?
I think it's just how adventurous the students are. and like the students just kind of, if they want something, they're go-getters. They go get it. That's the best way I can describe it. So just kind of like speaking about myself and my group of friends, like when we're all doing so many different things and we're all doing like completely different courses, but we still manage to group together. And I really enjoy that aspect of the university, that it gives you that opportunity to meet so many different people that you probably wouldn't have met otherwise, because like Leonie said, there's such a huge international population, and you meet people from so many different walks of life that you wouldn't have known before, and it gives you that real life experience. I really love that about like UofG. It gives you that real life experience, and it gives you that confidence to see something, realize that you want it, and go get it and do what you want to do.
I genuinely feel that's such a that was a good pep talk from you, man. I want to go out and do things now as well. But you're so right with that. It is such a good place to, if you are ambitious and you want to go and try things and do things and create things, it's such a good place for that. So yeah, such a good point. Sam, how about you? What's your favourite thing about being a student at Glasgow?
Ooh, I'd say there's a lot of things I'd say, but I think just having the opportunity to have met, like, well, it's kind of what Emaan said, just like people from all over. You know, I've met people who've, you know, become good friends. I've met people from all over the world, and like I think that's kind of like shaped my experience. And of course, coming to uni is where, like, you know, you kind of grow, you kind of develop yourself as a person. I just feel like coming to Glasgow, like I feel like I've grown. Yeah, I've become like a better me. I don't know. It's given me a chance. You know, just, you know, I'm somewhere where I've never been before. Somewhere where I kind of have to, you know, get accustomed to something different, get out of my comfort zone. And I feel like being at Glasgow has, you know, allowed me to do that. And yeah, it's been a good experience.
Yeah, and I totally remember meeting you, Sam, years and years ago at an event we did, and obviously you come on leaps and bounds since then, and now you're becoming the vice president of the SRC. So yeah, you've had an amazing time. You've absolutely smashed it. It's a good effort. And last but by no means least, Leonie, what is your best part about being part of Team UofG?
I feel like I just have to say yes, it's the people. Because absolutely, like generally in Glasgow at the university, like the staff is amazing and caring. And then, I mean, shout out to my friends, they're really cool people. And I think that is worth so much. But can I also just say that the university looks like Hogwarts? I can't believe I haven't said this, but it's literally like the main building is literally the nicest building ever. I mean, that just has to be one of the absolute perks of going to this university.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you in that. Your Instagram game will be absolutely popping if you come to Glasgow, so that is something definitely worthwhile. If you've not seen the main campus, like Leonie said, it is beautiful. The cloisters are one of the most photographed areas in all of Scotland, so definitely have a check out of that. But that was such a good kind of rounded everything up so well from you three there. So that was a really good final question to ask you. But sadly, that is all we have time for today. We have covered such an enormous amount of ground, and we really, really thank you for sending these questions in. It's been so useful for us to see what you guys are wanting to find out, and the answers we've had from you guys today have been phenomenal as well. So thank you so much to our students for helping answer these questions. Yep, what I would also say is this has obviously been quite useful to hear these questions being answered. If you do have anything else, you can always ask questions on our website to our Ask a Student part of our website. So that's where you can always find students and staff members to ask anything you want, and they'll get back to you with some answers as quickly as possible. But that really is us. We really can't wait to hopefully welcome you to Glasgow in September, seeing you in Glasgow, taking you to a K-League, sharing a bag of chips with you at some point as well. It's something we can't wait to really welcome you into Glasgow. But that is pretty much us done. I'm just double checking the time. Yeah, we're absolutely grand for that. So yeah, that's us done. it's been an absolute pleasure. We've really enjoyed doing this. Well, I definitely have enjoyed doing this. So on behalf of all of us at Team UofG and from Emaan, Leonie, Sam and myself, hope to see you soon and thank you for watching. See you later.
Okay.